Hey everybody, welcome to Clark's Place. Today, I think I've kind of sent an update video that's not posted yet, but this will continue that, getting the final details as far as everything dialed in for the fender. And this fender, in a previous video, I saw that I said it was too low right here. Still, it didn't quite match up with the top of the hood, so we had to take all the bolts out of the fender to get it out enough to get a little spacer on this. And now, when this shuts, this is now all even, and this is as close to even as I think I'm going to get it. Without it getting too crazy here, all this is now all at the same level because we put that little spacer right there. But the last thing we just noticed is when we got those heights good, when you shut this door, which should be able to shut, this body line here, all line up pretty good, but this edge of this door like does a little nosedive into that corner right there. So we're figuring out a way to get some wood and get some plastic to brace and then flex this up. And I guess since we got it, we might as well just do it.
Okay.
Where'd my little cat's claw go? Let's see if that's enough. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's plenty. I didn't realize it was that. That may be too much, but
I don't know,
we can push it down.
Yeah, I'm just
much
gonna
easier.
pull the tape back to
Yeah.
where we can see it even now.
Yeah, much better.
Dude, that's perfect. Yeah, wow. Okay, now I'm satisfied with my door gap. But this, it was like, shoop,
Yeah,
straight
the
down.
tip right here was bent downward.
Yeah, I'm happy with this now.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be forming a whistle in the wind as I go.
No, that's true.
Cool.
As you're driving 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Well, this thing's gonna get up to at least 60.
So the other thing I'm going to do is I got my trunk hinge, trunk latch that goes here, that now this will be able to close and we'll get the height right. But I think the trunk is pretty well done now. Yeah, looks pretty good. And opening and closing and all that. So got that latch we got to tighten, and then this will get shut and held by the latch for paint. And then when everything's squared away, when all the fenders and all the doors and everything are finally in their home. Yeah, I love this, Doug. That's great. Once all fenders, everything's tight, all the bolts are in. I still need to do the bolts down there and
this side.
Yeah, this side as well. And then the fenders will be on permanent. And the last thing we'll do is once everything's tight and everything's nice, mask everything, every nook and cranny that I've already painted, that I've back painted, and get the little foam stuff and fix my little things. We'll probably put it in the white sealer and paint clear. Time to go. Let's go. Yep. All right, so all the last little details. This was actually a little bit lower and flared in, so this line kind of went whoosh. So we just did a little bit of Duraglass in it and shaped that to where it ground it all out to where, I mean, it was hanging down to here. I don't know why that wasn't something I saw before, but got it looking really close now. This was a big chip. We got that down to bare metal. Then these chips we sanded. Oh, it wasn't this door.
No, it was the other door.
This door's fine. Yeah. But the other door had quite a few chips in it. This, these, when the hood is up, that looks great across there. And this edge feels good now. Had some chips. We had a couple little imperfections in there. And we got some boogers in here that I'm not sure what this is. But I'm going to take all the tape off, do the sanding. Oh yeah, we got the trunk. Got the trunk to where it goes like it should. And then when it shuts, show the gap here. Boom. That gap looks great. This, I'm going to have a little trunk bumper underneath it. And it still gets all the insulation too, so...
Yeah.
So yeah, that opens and closes pretty good. So we'll have this latched for paint. I can get my stripe all laid out. There was some imperfection in here, I think, that we sanded out. And what else was there, Doug?
Is that it, other than the spacer in the fender to raise?
Oh yeah, we lowered the hood just a smidge, about to the max we could get it down.
Yeah.
And then put another little washer in this. This is still maybe just a fingernail that you can hear it. Not gonna worry about it. It's gonna be good. This is beautiful. I think we captured that on camera, didn't we? Where we popped that up. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because if we bring the fender up more, it's going to be too high here.
Yeah, it's perfect there. It's about perfect there. The hood, I just can't get that down. And we may, with the 2 bolts that go into the side, have the hood sit a little lower on the hinge.
One more option we can try.
Yeah, we'll see. Other than that, I think that's it for Clark's place. Next, we'll be sanding the whole outside of the car again, just with probably 800 or so, 600 or 800. Oh, I can see that little bitty line came back. I don't know if it'll come out in the camera or not, but yeah, there's a big chunk out of that. I don't know. We must have laid the fender down and chipped it or something, but. Alright, I'm not 100% certain about this, but cleaned everything, and I believe what my pea-brain thinks how to paint when I've painted everything underneath. What I think I'm going to do is sand all the overspray here, of course, but sand the whole car, make sure everything's super slick, and then edges. I saw this when I was pulling the tape on everything. Where I didn't prep this, you see that red just peeled right off of the primer. Just because there was probably grease or dust or something. Because I just cleaned everything on the inside, all those door jambs and everything. So, that's really about the only spot that I saw paint lift when I was pulling all the tape. But all of this needs to be sanded. And then everything underneath there is all nice and crisp and delicious there. So I think I'll sand this edge and then use this foam tape stuff. I've shown it a couple times. And from what I gather, it kind of makes a soft edge on all of those that will allow a little bit of paint to go, but not like I'm painting as nice an edge as I've got right there. So it might just kind of fog, and it'll get some red, and then it'll get some clear over there. And I don't know how to buff that or transition it, but I know all of this has to be sanded and super slick like everything, the whole rest of the car. And it might still have a little red tint to it. I'm not sure how it'll work, but in any event, car's clean, trunk needs to be sanded. Basically, the whole car needs to be sanded again. Just lightly, because as I was cleaning, you can hear certain spots that have a lot of overspray. So that's what I'm doing. Final cleanup. Look at that bug. What are you doing dying on my car? All right, so that's what I'm doing. I've pretty much addressed all the little nicks and chips and stuff like that. Found a spot I needed to fix there. I showed in a previous video. I don't think I showed the repair, but ground all that off, got that looking a lot better. But I'm pleased with it. Now's the time to make final adjustments, so I'm tweaking, dialing in little bitty things. And I know at the end of the day it's just a car, but I want it done to the best of my abilities. And I'm sure there's going to be imperfections. I'm going to see that I don't like down the road myself, but this is the best that I can do. And so far, everything's turning out just beautiful. So thank you for watching. Not sure how much I'll record of the sanding. I may just do a review after I do all the sanding and everything, so we'll see. All right, hey everybody, welcome to Clark's Place. Today, I've got to refilm some stuff because for some reason GoPro didn't record it. So another test here. We'll see if it records. This, I believe I showed where it was chipping out because I had so much overspray. The surface was not cleaned properly. And in these places, like 4 different spots here, 3 and 4 there, all the paint just flaked off to bare metal. So I wasn't ever concerned with keeping this clean, and it got so many coats of overspray that the whole thing just flaked off here. So I used some of the U-Pole Gold and sanded it down, but the primer was so thick that it still had like an edge. So I just put a really thin skim coat here where some of it flaked off. You can see it flaked down to bare metal there. But I was able to feather sand that out. But this one kind of chunked out pretty good. Big, well, not big. I mean, it was even with this paint, so it just wasn't perfectly smooth. So put some U-Pole Gold on it. Pops went around today and did a lot of the detail sanding, so you can hear super slick now. Maybe not as super slick there. But he went around and did from like this body line up. And we got a sand in there. As we spray, we'll have to tape along this edge right here because I didn't get any red paint in there. Same with there along the back side of that. I don't want that gray to show. So, getting it all super slick. The other thing that we did today was in all of the bodywork and all of the layers of primer, I had to sand this back down all the way to bare metal. Had so many coats of overspray and stuff. In order to reveal, we had to poke out all of my holes that I've already pre-fit. Another one there, another one there. I've already pre-fit all of my wheel lip moldings. I don't think the front one's got as much. Yeah, they're still pretty clear, but he may have already cleaned these out too. But for the last layer of sealer and paint, then clear, I don't want these holes. I mean, these were almost like buried. You could barely see where they were. So I sanded it to find them and then poked them all out with an awl and got them squared away. So that's an update where we're at. This should be cleaned up and nice. And then we had a bunch of scratches in here from putting the fender on that's why this is on there super solid now. Got all my bolts in everywhere. You can see all the bolts coming through. And everything's gonna get dusty, but none of this is gonna take away from the shine that I've got on all of that. So we'll get all the sanding, extra body work done. Whatever else needs to be done, I'm not sure with the rest of this. There might be a little bit more. Get that done. Then spray it all off, clean everything all off, and then back tape everything that I don't want painted. And then I'm not even painting my wheel here. That will get undercoated. But tape all along the back side of this because the back side of that is nice and red. So we'll tape all this up And once I've body worked this and sanded and blown and cleaned, and then we'll get it in paint. So looking forward to it. All right, hey everybody, welcome to Clark's Place. Today, I think I've shown these little spots that I've repaired, but we're gonna continue doing final sanding bits. Just put some U-pole gold on there about a week or so ago. And it's all cured out and ready to be sanded off flush. Hopefully that will turn out great. I will probably mix up a little bit of the 2K primer that is all this gray stuff and just recover that. You can see a little bare metal there. And then for final bodywork sanding, you can see I got the whole outside candy shell to do. They sold me this. So back down at Automotive and Paint and Supply in Gainesville. Her name isn't Rachel, it's Ashley, but she sold me this, and you can call her Ashley if you want. She likes it. Or call her Rachel. This I'd never heard of. It's called a Painter's DA, or Bodyman's DA. And what I guess the cool part about this is that it's got a 3/30 seconds orbit. So imagine I'm doing this, and you've always seen like little curly cues as you get your paper bound up and all that. This doesn't have that wide pattern of a pigtail. It's got a really tight pattern. So I'm gonna put this on low. It's also got a little adjustment here that let me just plug it in and I'll show you. I think I'm gonna run this super low. Okay, you see the adjustment down in there. I think this is on high here. You can see it moves some air, moves some product. But you can see it's barely moving. My other DA looks like it's wobbling the whole time. So that is max speed. I think that's what I'm gonna run it to do. I think I bought 2 different sandpapers over there. We'll check them out. But I think I bought 2 different sandpapers to do it. Sand sealer, use the Painter's DA with 800. And then took another note and scuffed the red, used the Painter's DA with 1500. So yeah, with the paint, with the Painter's DA, with the sandpapers, I also got down there this for the RT stripe. Looked on a bunch of different sites, and it looked like it was the measurement for in between the stripe was about 3/8 of an inch. So I'm gonna put a tape that blocks off all the red. So the whole body's red. I'm gonna put a line, and that basically blocks off all the red. Then I'm gonna measure 3/8 of an inch or so, I think is what it is. Put this down. That puts a red line that will stay, and it puts a white line on the outside. So it'll be a space that gets painted white. Then this will cover the red, and then the rest will get painted. That's the middle of the stripe will get painted white with the pearl and all that good stuff. And then the reverse on the opposite side. So it looked to be 3/8 of an inch to me. If it isn't exactly 3/8 of an inch, then it's gonna be 3/8 of an inch on my car. So that's the way it goes. So that's pretty much the tools that I got. Oh, I got some soft edge. I don't know if we got a number on these, but this thing looks awesome. Roller block RL1 from Motor Guard. A lot of the other stuff we have is 3M, these blocks, but these are like really squishy, but tight and stiff at the same time, if that makes sense. This kind of has a rolled edge, so hopefully I bought this because I thought I would be doing this right here, is trying to get those with 800 or 400 first and then 800. So that's kind of where we're at. This weekend's cold down here in Florida. It's only high of like 56 or something like that, so probably no painting this weekend. This is New Year's weekend. So probably the week after New Year's, it's supposed to be up into the 65s to 70s. So maybe next weekend. So if you're watching and paying attention, appreciate it. Very soon we'll be in paint, and I'll kind of show some stuff if something cool happens today. Okay, I also have a box of 400, and that's what I'm going around doing everything with right now. I was using the other Harbor Freight DA that, well, you can see it. These, about twice the weight since I have that other one now. But these have worked great, and I think they're 20 bucks. So we have 3 or 4 of these. So they're awesome, but for scuffing the sealer and for scuffing the paint before clear, I was just telling them my process at Automotive Paint Supply in Gainesville, and she's like, you need a painter's DA. So I got a painter's DA. I think it was a couple $100. That was the less expensive one because she didn't have the more expensive ones, I guess, in stock. But she should get some more if you want some more. But I'd never heard of a painter's DA, but I'm an idiot, so everyone in the world probably has them. All right, after many hours of playing with this, it closes and opens very nicely now. But we had to play with, and since everything is new metal, AMD, 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 everything was not working out like I thought it should. So we played with it a bunch, and you can see we scratched this right here, but that's gonna be repainted anyway. But what I had to do, this thing was, when it hooked up to both of the hood hinges, with all that connected, you can see this gap is a little bit tight. How we changed that is we took this and moved it a smidge that way, so when it hits, you can watch as I close it. It pulls it a little bit to the right, and it's a little tight there, but I shaved a little bit, grinded the edge of the trunk there. And I might, considering this gap is a little bit wider, move that mount, move this mount just a little bit more that way to when the trunk closes, it pulls it a little bit farther that way. But I've got a nice gap here. This is nice. That I'm pretty happy with it. But we've had the trunk on and off about 13 times, probably 5 hours worth of work to get that to fit as nice as it does right now. Now the last piece is the quarter extensions. I dropped mine in order to get this to fit right. You can see I've got a line in there. I guess I just used Bondo instead of Duraglass, and I dropped this a little bit ago and it broke. So what I need to do is to fit this a little bit better. It's going to have a little bit of a spacer there to kick that out, but I don't like how that little tip meets up there. So I might put a little bit of Duraglass in this corner and make it the same exact shape as this trunk deck, because I like the way the trunk deck, that factory edge goes. And this side is a little closer with this quarter extension, but both of these I had to cut. Maybe I didn't cut this one, or maybe I did. There's a little bit of Duraglass or something in there. But this one, in order to make this gap, I may have even done a video on quarter extensions and all the work I did on these, but it was way high right here, so and kicked way out at the bottom on this side. So I put a cut in it and squeezed it together. And I thought I'd Duraglass, but that would be stronger. But that's what I'm gonna do. So put those on, get them fit up, and do some custom work on those in order to make all of this line on the backside really fit nice. And that's really the end of the major work to do on it, besides white sealer, paint, stripe, pearl, rip all that off and clear it all for the Happy New Year. So Happy New Year, everybody, and thanks for watching Clark's Place. We'll see you next year. Bye.
Thank you.